What's going on, Giants fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. I want to quickly recap the night 2 draft picks for Big Blue, honing in on the secondary under new defensive coordinator Shane Bowen. Before I get into the 2 picks and my thoughts, folks, please make sure to check us out if you haven't already on all of our socials below. So, second round, pick 47. The Giants get the number 1 overall safety in this year's draft in Tyler Nubin at number 47 overall. So, with the departure of Xavier McKinney, safety was obviously a need. Joe Shane's very good at math. You get Nubin for $2 million a year. You would have signed McKinney for 17. I mean, beautiful. You're going to get similar production. It was 4 years ago the Giants took McKinney in the second round. Similar stake here. Nubin, a senior out of St. Charles, Illinois, 22 years old, 6'1". Yeah, excellent size, length. I like this pick a lot. Very aggressive in instincts. I had wished I had done a tad more work on this guy. You know, I did the basics on him, but I wish I had gotten into his film a little more. A true in-box safety ball hawk with great instincts. He can play well in a too-high safety look, plays chest over the middle of the field rather than checkers. Man coverage, he's pretty average. He lacks that ideal top end speed, which is why I think he dropped to the second round, but he's very disciplined. You won't see many penalties out of him. The only concerns are speed and occasional tackling, I'd say. But let's get into his career with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. 55 career games, set the program record with 13 picks, allowed just a 33.0 passer rating in coverage since 2021. So his last 3 seasons have been astronomically good. 207 career tackles with 2 sacks, 24 pass breakups from the safety spot, and he's been with them since 2019. So he played 1 year with Carter Coughlin before the Giants took him, and he played 4 years with John Michael Schmitz, the Giants starting center. So now 3 Golden Gophers with Big Blue, 12 games as a reserve in 2020. He started all 7 games. 2021, honorable mention, all Big Ten, 3 picks, started all 13 games. Very good covering ground on the field, playing in run support in the box if you need him. I mentioned that in box, and his size allows him to do that. And the fact that he's a ball hawk, I mean, you start to think of guys like, you know, Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, and what they used to do in the NFL. Not to compare Nubin to these guys, but, you know, Nubin is a turnover machine. 2022, he led the team with 4 picks, second team all Big Ten. He did break his hand and missed the end of the season, but other than that, injuries are not much of a concern. This past season, he was a second team AP All-American, first team All Big Ten, 5 picks, tied 6th in the nation, starting all 12 games. So again, he brings you a lot. He can blitz the quarterback. He can drop back into coverage. He can read receivers' routes very well. He locks good eye contact with the quarterback and reads his eyes well. So I'm very excited about this pick. Tyler Nubin will have to compete with Jason Pinnock and Dane Belton, both entering their 3rd years respectively with Big Blue, as Belton was a 4th-round pick in the 2022 draft, and Pinnock, a former Jet and Bill, before coming over with Dable and Shane to the Giants in 22 via late offseason waivers. So it'll be interesting to see. Nubin will have to earn his starting job, which I like, but now we kind of have an idea of where this defense is headed a little bit. I would expect Jalen Mills to play more slot corner, occasional 3 safety look. But yeah, Pinnock, Belton, Nubin, that's a solid 3 safety duo. And the best part, all these guys are young, which is very, very impressive. They'll all grow together. Next up, 70th overall in the 3rd round, the Giants select Drew Phillips, corner out of Kentucky. Junior, 5'11", 22 years old, native of Birmingham, Alabama, nicknamed Drew. He was a top 30 visit, very emotional on the phone, along with Nubin, too. I forgot to mention that. Nubin's phone call, phenomenal. Watch it if you can. Pure emotion. Very excited to be a New York football Giant. But Phillips, quick, 4.48 40-yard. He plays a lot like Roger McCreary did for the Titans when Bowen drafted him in 2022. Phillips is a good run stopper, excellent toughness, more of a boundary guy, though, not too much in the slot, but that was early on in his collegiate career. So I would say that he can play slot at the next level because he did log 504 snaps and 460 outside. But a lot of those came this past season. Before that, he did not have much experience in the slot with Kentucky. He was sort of forced to play slot to keep up with quicker SEC wide receivers. So I get it. That's why I personally say he's more of a boundary guy. But I did hear something that Shane might explore starting him off in the slot because you do have Cordell Flott, right? And with Adoree Jackson leaving, it's an issue, right? Phillips can run with those vertical routes. He played in the Senior Bowl this year. He started 12 games. He was very, very good. He's never had an interception in his collegiate career, which if you view that as a concern, sure. I don't. But a good tackler, disciplined guy. I think the big thing, too, is lack of starts, right? Lack of starts, you could argue. He's played 38 collegiate games in 4 years with just 16 starts. So, I think it's an average pick. I give this a C plus, B minus range. He's been playing since 2020 when he redshirted. He even played 4 games that year. So there was also one other thing about him. He was one of 6 Kentucky players cleared by a grand jury after a burglary charge. The Giants looked into it. Charges dropped. So hopefully there's no off the field issues there. But honestly, Andru Phillips seems like a really good guy. He seems pretty clean, especially after that accusation. I think he's, played very, very well going up against the top SEC wide receivers. And you're looking right now, you have Deonte Banks, who's entering his second year, but who's playing across from him, right? The next 2 best options on the team are Cordell Flott and Nick McCloud. So now this gives Joe Shane the flexibility and Shane Bowen defensively to figure out, okay, who's playing in the slot majority of the time this year? Will it be Phillips? Will it be Flott? Right? They brought Darnay Holmes back for depth, but I don't think he's a lock to make the roster. So right now you're looking at the Giants corner room. Deonte Banks, second year. Trey Hawkins is still around, second year. Aaron Robinson entering year 4. He's been hurt the last 2 to 3 seasons. He's still on the roster. People forget that. And then, of course, you have now Drew Phillips and Cordell Flott. So I think Flott, Phillips, and Banks are your top 3 corners. Hawkins mainly as a reserve. So I'm excited to see what the Giants do there. And then Nick McCloud on special teams. So the Giants bolster their secondary on day 2. Excited to see what the Giants do in day 3 with 3 picks remaining. But appreciate you all, folks. What do you think of Andru Phillips and Tyler Nubin? Do you like the moves? Do you think they could have gone differently here? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms, folks. And without further ado, let's go Big Blue.